Hi, guys. Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're going to go through all things divination, understanding how these divine transmissions are transmuted through you as the barometer, the tuning fork, and how you can use these to decipher the very nature of the greatest question that any human being has, which is whatever's on your mind, whatever you need to know about your human being experience. And we'll go over the origins of all these things, how to acquire a deeper understanding from all different levels of spirituality to religion to psychology, biology, neurology, physiology, all that put together. And then don't forget to stay to the end of the video to get a incredible transmission to show you how powerful you are. We're going to take you on a mystery ride, activating an alchemical response, making you glowing and buzzing and feeling joy, bliss, and happiness at will, representative of you today on this podcast. Enjoy the video. Silence. Echoing. Rippling, oscillating, no end, no beginning, beyond the beyond, the name that is echoing in what you know as your mind right here, right now. Let it reveal itself in its true nature, its expression of all things, the mother of all things. Tao is named and nameless. Perfection manifest. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade. Welcome to a preview of 2024.
Oh.
We are on the precipice, on a turning point to revealing the true nature of all things, which is the new year is upon us.
It's coming fast.
It's coming real fast. Fast and Furious. Obama, where are you? Oh, I'm sorry. That would be inappropriate now, wouldn't it?
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
We're on it.
You baby whisperer, you. And I'm your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing. And this is a very, very appropriate podcast. We're going to go deep diving into divination, the true nature of divination, how it presents itself in your reality, what you can do with it, and how it can give you definitive answers to the very questions that you have that pertains to you right here, right now.
And what is divination?
Well, it's a divine sense or knowing transmitted through your very essence. It can come in all forms, all clear senses, all sensory perception, but it's more commonly refined and defined as some type of tool that you can use to get a answer from a higher source in this 3D reality. That's in definition what that is.
Like tarot cards or...
Tarot cards,
I Ching.
Some type of like the tuning forks, pendulums, all that kind of stuff.
even like a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Maybe not to
Well,
get a higher source, but to still get like
well,
some type of
well, yeah. I
message.
mean, a Ouija board is just another transmission. People get
Mm-hmm.
completely freaked out when they put their hands on this thing and it starts moving around because you're getting a transmission. You're literally getting a transmission. And so to most people, it's in awe of something that seems so beyond their comprehension because it's removed from their everyday vocabulary. It's removed from their everyday understanding of the true nature of you, the tuning fork for the universe. And so they get kind of freaked out by it. Um, we can unravel it in many different ways, but more commonly, it's a transmission that could kind of rear its head in all forms that would be more symptomatic or understood within the construct of physiology, biology, hypnology. Hypnology.
I like that one.
Another trance state, right? Another state of consciousness, a sensory perception that we define it as that in the semantics, but there is a very clear definition from a very realm of man limited viewpoint from a psychology perspective. And so within these other areas, and so divination also comes in the form of just more depths of unconscious process, right? So people tend to define your conscious and unconscious as being really the understanding of how human beings operate. Within Taoism, we have that already in different areas because it's representative of different parts of the evolution of the cosmos, the creation of the cosmos. So when we talk about conscious, we talk about conscious, subconscious, unconscious, putting it in these sort of like different cycles of cosmology, cosmos, creation, and evolution. And so that's from a Taoist perspective. From a hypnotist perspective, we would call it ideomotor response, an idea turned into motion. So really, it's a subsection of your thought processes, a psychokinetic response that is being transmitted into a message. And this is happening all day, every day. And so you use this truth teller, your heart, to transmit a better understanding as what we define as a knowing, because when you're feeling your knowing, you get direct information. And these developed skills are acquired through specific practices which we are second to none in as Taoists, and it comes down to internal alchemy, baby. Mm-hmm. And so we have a very clear path. Now, more commonly within Taoism, they talk about the hexagram, trigram, and they use this as a processes within the infrastructure of what they call the Book of Change, which is Qing. Right? Now, on a much deeper level, that's kind of more what we call within Taoism the rice bowl version. Mm-hmm. Well, excuse me? What did you just say? What did you say, Sifu? Yes. It's a watered down divination tool that is hit or miss, and it has a reputation of being hit or miss due to that very nature of the lack of coherence, meaning there are components that are missing. In most cases, you don't get the true source. It's just like Qigong. It's just like embryonic breathing. It's just like the microcosmic orbit. These are foundational tools within Taoist alchemy that are not being represented correctly, and they're not being revealed. They're sort of like subsections of this type of divination tool. So we are just about to release a whole myriad of things that you can use to apply to your very level up and exploration of the true nature of who you are. Comes in all forms, from the Way 126 to more recently, we'll release them all at once. The Infinite Wuji Body, which polarizes any sort of Kundalini experience, coming down to, Taoist Rites Divination, and then, of course, Taoist Rites Architecture of Healing. There's very much a sense of knowing that comes with a pattern, a fractal pattern, maybe. And so this process is, as you regress to a former podcast, and then we give you an understanding of fractal patterns, if you represent it in relation to the quantum field, because this is a new language, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, something that has been sort of just recently discovered, and people use it to define the very understanding of all things holy, all things divine, all things consciousness. And so physics, quantum physics, in of itself is a language that's only 300 or 400 years old. So when we talk about divination, we're talking about all these things. And so you can use this and get instant access and get instant answers to the very nature and question of anything that you can create in your mind that can be related to you.
And I think that's what everyone wants. People want answers to these questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is the reason for X, Y, and Z? I want a clear answer so I can make the appropriate decision. And, as human beings, we get very clouded with our own perception or limited perception, as well as our emotions, and let that dictate how we make these decisions instead of truly listening and feeling connected.
Amen to that. And so, you want to be able to discern and affirm all transmissions. And the biggest clouded viewpoint or blurry line is when you let your emotions control you and you don't control your emotions. That's the first one. That's a baseline that we like to start with. You can be John Jack Smith, Mary Lou Brown, or whoever you are, pick up the Taoist Rites Divination and get your very clear message instantaneously. And you will feel the palpability of the energy, the transmission, all of these things. Of course, as you acquire deeper levels of sensory perception, you'll go further. Everyone wants more, right? So this is a fantastic tool. You want to get like real myopic? Come on the magical mystery ride with Jade and Sanjing, and we'll be more than happy to, pepper you with all the inner workings that are necessary for you to level up your mastery.
Yeah, I do think it is really important because, like you said, that emotional factor, especially when it's something, say, so connected to you. It's not just like, hey, should I wear a red sweater today or a blue sweater? It's like, no, people have these really deep, questions of like, do I stay in my marriage? Do I change my entire career? Do I, what do I do with all of this important decisions in my life? I want to feel like I get that direct source. And this really helps people because it kind of does, it eliminates that unknowing and the physical process of doing it. They're getting that direct answer.
And, I've mentioned this before. You use this transmission to have a deeper understanding of individuals, yourself, other people around you. I use the transmission to, show people something that they consciously don't believe is possible. That specific angle would be reading the transmission from an individual, understanding the information that they're projecting within their thought forms, attaching it to the field, you attune yourself to that information, and then you're able to acquire a result. I.e., I've spoken about this many times. Take a subject, person, individual that wants to engage in this, like, basically example, and take an object. I've done it before. Specifically, a very, very broad space that would be in your mind impossible to acquire this state. Have them tape the object, go off somewhere. For example, we use a hotel, MGM Grand, whatever. They go off into their room, go somewhere in the hotel. I don't really care where you go. And they place this object there. Then they come back to me. And then I'm able to read their mind, and understand where their transmission is coming from, and use them as a guiding fork. So there's sort of like a combination of remote viewing, ideomotor response, to as they are the divine transmission of their very essence, to guide me to where that object is. Now, is this revolutionary and mind-blowing? To a lot of spiritual people, yes. To the true nature of understanding how energetics and the electromagnetic field works, and how you transmit your thoughts, feelings, and emotions all day, every day. When you look at you have a deeper understanding of it. No, it is not. And so this is a level of sensory perception as how we define it. It's a level of, higher levels of dimensional shifting beyond this 3D reality, because it's not just something that we're looking at face value. I'm receiving transmission, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They're coming up in my field. I can visually see them with my eyes open, and I'm able to use that information to guide myself to get a result, right? So, all these things are acquired through developmental skills and mastery that you can obtain. Now, as I've said before, all bets are off due to the nature of how the universe works. If you accept you are the universe, and this is truly your representation of your expression of yourself, then you will access all things instantaneously. This conversation will be null and void, and you'll be off to the races, and everything will be realized instantaneously. Mm-hmm. What I've gathered over my 30 years of doing this, and the exposure to the humanness, the human condition, the understanding of these things, there's generally a filtering of information that can take someone 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years. It depends on the individual. But what I can tell you is, Jade and I can give you the tools that will refine and define your messaging, your pathway to acquire this consciousness second to none. And that's the difference. There's a lot of revelations that people are having, especially in the way the amplitude of the energies are taking place from the sun to the earth right now in this particular year, leading into this new year of the dragon, which is a water element, right?
No, wood.
Wood.
It's wood.
Okay.
Yeah, wood this year.
So if I wanted to just sidetrack a little bit, and we're getting on wood, we're getting on dragon, we're getting on the transmission of that, realizing that Shade and I remind you guys, if you're all things, you're all elements, you're all signs, you're all animals. That means that you receive all things. That means that every day is a good day to be you. You don't just go, well, I'm not this animal this year, I'm this one. No, you're all animals. So every day is the best day of your realization, because you can access it all at once, and so there's no limitation. But of course, if your truth and your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with, comes in the nature of a limited belief, and you've laid it down and you've come to the conclusion you believe you're just this animal of this year, then it will be representative of that, and then of course it will transmit into your reality. So with this in motion, I need people to have while you're operating in a duality, knowing it's Year of the Dragon, that means a tremendous amount of auspicious things are taking place, including just from a numerical perspective. It's not the highest number, but it's still representative of infinite. So, if we just do the math, a very, very, very good luck representation of all things is the infinity sign, which ripples down into understanding the inner workings of the energy flow that goes inside your physical body that then transmutes what we call, the golden elixir within Taoism, that then represents as the three treasures, right? So those three treasures transmute this golden elixir through the Ryu, the Ru Yi, which is representative as the pineal gland, and then you're able to realize all things as the universe, and these are transmuted techniques that develop this stuff. Now, that golden elixir can also come in the forms of other paralleled systems, Christ oil, Kundalini, sacred secretion. We could go on and on and on. But knowing that there is a variable and there are different ways to obtain the same way up the mountain, within Taoism, our systems work very efficiently. You're not. It's for example, it's like Taoism is kind of like going, I've got all Apple products and now I'm syncing them collectively, and they all work within this ecosystem. Most people get a product, an Apple, Microsoft, whatever, and there's this dysfunction where they're not syncing together. And what's really important is you need to be able to validate, and that's through the palpability, the tangibility of what we speak of. So that's really necessary. So you use these tools to acquire that sensory perception.
Yeah, and it's a really good tool because I feel like people are really like when they want to do like mushrooms or ayahuasca or hallucinogen tea and all these other ways to access those different dimensions in hope of getting messages. You're kind of limited by going there, and maybe you ask a question or you want a certain message, but you might get a message about something else. Or you're kind of just like, I just want any message. But within the divination, you're asking a question. You're getting a specific answer to that question and a specific message to that question that you have versus just like, I just want to feel anything. Or give me something.
Give me a sign.
Exactly. Or I got a message, but I have to kind of decipher how it relates to me.
Right.
This is an exact answer.
Right. And that's the difference, which I find, a little bit clunky when it comes to something like I Ching. And, it's representative of a Taoist practice. It was created by a specific emperor back in the day, back in the OG. Wasn't transmuted from the Yellow Emperor because there is no limitation. Now, this information that we're releasing, the Taoist Rites Divination, is a direct representation of the cosmos. So you're getting information from the three pure ones straight up, and they are the transmutation of the universe. So if you want anything at a higher ascension level within the Taoist framework, you can't get any further than this. Well, of course you can. I mean, the mother of all things. Put it this way. We use, there's three things you need. You need the actual system, which is representative within trigrams, but it's not 8 trigrams, it's 9. Ooh. And then that comes out in an expression of 2 other tools that you need. set of candles, 2, and 9 coins. As it stands right now, I I have no problem with people just getting 9 quarters and using those. You'll get direct answers when you do the throws. First thing that you'll realize is, holy moly, I just picked up 9 quarters. Why do they feel like heavy pennies? Because that you're sitting into that groove and that frequency, so it's transmitted instantaneously, and it will be representative of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so all of a sudden you're like, ooh, what's going on here? And so that will show up in just the weight of the coins.
Yeah.
That will
You
instantly
infuse.
become even denser. Now, Sifu Jade, why are you using coins? And why are you using 9? Very good question. Okay, so understanding that we're really look at the premise of the nature of consciousness, right? And that comes back to our book, Ancient Practices of Synchronicity. We explain the parallels of the deciphering of dimensional shifts, realizing we are in a multi-dimensional universe. And again, we're using framework. And I'm using this framework because it seems to resonate mostly with people's understanding of how you access what we call consciousness, because it's such a blanket word that can be transmuted into 1,000 different definitions. So let's take it from the framework of a multi-universe, understanding this is the reality. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are being transmitted in all dimensions at once. There is a representation of you operating in all those dimensions. Depending upon the frequency, the intensity, it will either meet with, equal to, or greater than within the field, and it will be transmuted instantaneously. So the feeling, and why we stress the feeling is so critical, is that is the catalyst that will determine how quickly it is realized within this reality. And so that feeling transmutes and it is transformed into all things. And so you use the 9 coins because they, when you toss them out, it gives you a yes or no answer to the first 9 dimensions. What? The first 9 dimensions. Oh yeah, baby. And so there's more deeper understanding of the system. Once you get the system, you follow, and you will instantly go, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling this divine transmission through my body. I'm feeling it in my hands. If you're new to energy, you're going to have a big comeuppance and wake uppance and realize uppance of your true nature uppance in this realization. And so it comes in all forms. You know, you can test this transmission on anybody at will. And it comes in different ways. Some people will resonate to certain things. But trust me, it's like, okay, there's several things that align you with this stuff. The second you take the actual, system, that's one. You just activate that. You can feel that right now. It's like I just say that and
That
go, whoa,
charge.
oh, I just got a charge from that. Sifu just said that, yeah. Then you go and get the tools, Perhaps at one point we may sell individual stuff, but right now all you need is the system. Then you go buy the candles, you get your coins, and you're off to the races, and you will get direct information instantaneously, and it will come in that form. So it's accessing those dimensions, and it's being representative right in front of you. And trust me, you're going to freak out at how quickly you become the oracle.
Yeah.
And it's not, oh, it might be, it may be, perhaps, I'm thinking about it. No, it gives you straight up and down, yes or no. All right. So this is always a great tool to get your feet wet. Now, if you want to start developing deep sensory perception that goes beyond this baseline, which gives you a knowing of things, then of course you develop other skills. You come reaching out to us, and we can go into internal alchemy and other things of that nature that will level you up, and you can start becoming a master keeper creator of your reality.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good baseline for anyone who wants to feel what it feels like to start receiving messages and getting that divination, and you start developing it, like you said, and then that leads into, maybe more clairvoyant skills, more audible skills that just progress. The more validation that you get, and this is the whole system is to create validation, the more you start ingraining it and opening these energy pathways throughout all the dimensions to start receiving the messages that people are looking for.
Mm-hmm. And that's really the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is understanding that, you acquire these skills, and they become more ingrained. They become more entrained. You want to master this stuff. It doesn't want and I mean, I'm just expressing what I've observed over 30 years of natural born life, sharing and teaching these techniques. That's a start. That's a baseline. If you want to get deeper transmissions, channeling, direct source information, well, that's a whole different pathway. But let's just say, using you as a tuning fork, this is a great beginning.
Yep.
Beginner's entry. And, you get really excited because it's instantaneous. It's like, holy moly. But, you're feeding, you're following that groove that we speak of. Imagine it's raining outside and the road's been dry and it's got a lot of oil on it. And from an instinct and inclination, you follow the driver in front of you so that you don't slip on the oil that's just freshly been watered down due to the nature of the universe sharing with this incredible source of water, thunder, chi. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna go into the segment of Jade's analogies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to hear Jade's analogies. That's why I do this podcast.
I think mine is like when you go bowling and they, like, for kids, they put like the bumpers on. It's like, this is like the bumpers. It's like, you're not, every time you throw the ball, you're going to hit a pin. It's we've created that pathway. You're just following it now. You're just tossing the ball and you're going to hit it. You're not going to get a gutter ball anytime. And then that again in itself creates that kind of excitement and the validation and that knowing that people need to feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. I am getting messages. This is, I'm not trying to second guess myself because this is something foreign that maybe I've never felt before. And, I don't have anything to justify, is this real? Is this not? Am I crazy? Am I not? Am I just making it up in my head? I think a lot of people kind of go down that path in the very beginning. And then once they have that recognition, they go, okay, now I know I have a foundation, I have a baseline, this is where I start, and now I can just keep advancing it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really where you start, and you can be in a different level, different progression. Please feel free to hearing this video, go and look at a transmission from Lao Tzu. We get direct channel information. I love to be the catalyst and conduit of that. And there's nothing more powerful. You feel the surge of energy the second he enters my vessel and transmits his message. And that's really what channeling is. It's a whole nother level of consciousness, right? But let's, get your feet wet your whistle, get started, and, you go on this journey of exploration of your own sensory perception and accessing the universe, right?
And it also like I enjoy using it, even though I might be a little bit more advanced than than your average beginner discovering Taoism, discovering the Tao, and getting messages and transmissions and divinations. I still enjoy using it because it does kind of just remove the thinking out of it. You're feeling it. You're knowing it. It's kind of this like process and thing that you do. You're not thinking, and that's important a lot of times for people to really connect. Is to feel it, get out
Right.
of your head.
Right. And, be very clear, you can interrupt your messaging at any point. So,
Yeah.
use this tool. But, if you're having what you would perceive as a quote unquote bad day, and you go and use this tool and all of that, it's not giving me anything because you're collectively stepping in the path of this transmission. And so, of course, you want to acquire discernment, affirmment, deeper understanding of transmission of information. And that comes with the cultivation. That comes with a deeper insight. And, that is a developmental skill that can happen instantaneously, or you follow our instruction and, you will acquire these skills. Yet, start somewhere. Put a line in the sand and go, I'm expressing myself now.
Yeah.
And then it will continually ripple out and validate in other ways. And, you just get all these exciting different revelations. And then you want to, expand that and go into other forms. You want to be, a healer. Then you need to develop those skills. Those energetic skills are critical because then you can really, transfer. That's why Qigong is so powerful. You're able to transfer that energy in all dimensions at once. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Critical.
Yeah, and I think for any real energetic practice, getting messages and the messaging is one of the most important things, whether you're and deciphering them, and whether you're doing, psychic abilities, mediumship, like you said, channeling, even healing. You have to create that system or have that system where how you're getting transmissions and how you're able to perceive that.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I mean, that's the thing. You have to cultivate.
Yes.
And it may come in different levels, but just start with a baseline. Get started.
Yep.
Use the Way 126. Use the Taoist Rites Divination. Use, entry-level Wuji Infinite Body Cultivating. These are tools that you put together to acquire your awareness of who you are.
Yep.
And I'm very grateful that the Tao, that the three pure ones, that the universe has transmuted through them to give us these divine tools that are tens of thousands of years. I keep saying tens of thousands. Quite frankly, they're millions.
They're infinite.
Let's just, they're infinite. But I'm just giving someone sort of some type of like anchor of realization, because many people still want to sort of like free themselves from the humanist mindset, yet they still don't realize on an unconscious level that for them to validate their reality, there are certain anchors, excuse me, which would come in the form of, how old is this? Where is this? Just all invalidating your experience.
Yeah. And I do think it's so important. I remember Michael Jordan had like an interview, and they were like, what do you do, for your success? And he's like, well, everybody sees, my physical success, but nobody knows that as much time as I put in the gym, I put in my mental gym. And he's like, I'd rather spend time in my mental gym working out, training, getting better, because that's where all of this happens. And I just thought that was an interesting way to kind of think about it. This is like your mental training system, and you got to put the time in and get different tools and techniques, and then use them, and you start developing, and you'll see the validation instantly.
And there's things that are of this world and not of this world. Be very clear. You do baseline, all the tools we're showing you, they're a transmutation of this, in this 3D reality. You want to level up to ascension that goes beyond even something that you can't even define within the construct of physiology, biology, neurology, psychology. Then come and see us, because now you start getting up. When you're operating with these high transmissions, the channeling, internal immortals, Latsu, three pure ones, all the teachers that I have within my lineage, these are all representative. They're another facet of the diamond of pure consciousness. That means direct source. Now, if you're in other pathways, what could I relate this to that would give you definition? Halls of Amente, hermetic, chemetic principles of the universe, right? Principles. I'll use principles. You start using laws, you lose me here. Because the construct, the deeper nature of the construct of these words will determine how much you are able to access. Because you are limiting yourself just with the frameworks of the words themselves. As we always talk about, everything is words, numbers, symbols, letters. And they're integrated deep within the true essence of who you are at a subatomic level. That's why you resonate to a scripture, you resonate to poetry, you resonate to a symbol, you resonate to a letter, you resonate to a number. That's why there's astrology, numerology. All these things are more facets of really consciousness, divination, understanding. And then you want to get a real groove into it, so that expression is something that is replicable, repeatable.
Yes.
And that's when you level up. That's when amazing things start taking place. And so you want a baseline. This is what we find so much, is so many people get what we call glimpses within this reality. They get a taste, and then they're incapable of repeating it. And they're like, man, that was a fleeting moment. It's like, getting having that moment, right, where you get an all-time high from what you're doing, and it's expressed through your physical body, whether it's achieving a sports goal, or an academic accolade, or a business focus point, and you're achieving these levels, right? And there's a certain alchemical response that takes place, and it validates your satisfaction. It validates what you're doing. These are always baselines. Now, what happens is when people get a glimpse within the metaphysical world, the spiritual world, the energetic consciousness that we are familiar with, it ends there. And they're like, how the hell did I do that? It was like you kind of tripped and fell into it, right? And of course, that's not true by any stretch of the imagination, yet they don't understand how they peaked into that higher consciousness, and then they're unable to backtrack or deconstruct how they got there. And that's why having a system, being able to develop a skill, is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it comes in that form. I'm very grateful. Three pure ones give us that. You fall into that groove, and it's representative of that. And when you start to understand, this is, you're accessing just consciousness, and you are consciousness, and everything is void of title, profound things start taking place, right? There's no limit. There's no limit. No limit.
Yeah, it's like getting the treasure map, and instead of half of it being missing, you start to get the whole thing, and it's right in front of you. You're not just stumbling around hoping that I'm going to find it if I walk 10 paces to the left and 2 to the right.
Right.
It's like, no, we give you the GPS. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You're not trying to read the map anymore. You have the direct GPS with the coordinates, and it's like, you stop right here, it'll happen.
Right. And so with that, as we always remind you, are the tuning fork of the universe. This physical flesh and blood is your barometer. This is how you level up, guys. This is
Yeah.
how you go inside, not outside. That's the misconception, the fallacy, is really your OBE is your inside, NBE, whatever.
Inner
You
body
inner
experience.
body experience, yeah. MBE, really?
IB.
Inner,
Well, yeah.
IBE. Yeah.
We're going to word school today.
Yeah, I think we're word schooling it, or more. I'll take it from my newfound friend, Coach Reg. Wordsmithing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a nice little coin there. You're wordsmithing things, which is the real, thing that most people tend to get into, especially in the spaces. They wordsmith and they attempt to flex, but it's all boat showing and there's no go. So it's all talk and no flow. The Wu Ji, the effortless action that is materialized from this very nature,
Yeah.
and understanding that on a much deeper level.
Yeah. Should we share a little taste of it?
Yeah, why don't we just get into that? You see, understanding how you can activate things. So just me talking about that, of course, now all of a sudden, what are the chances you start feeling a chill up your spine? You're going, Sifu, how am I getting this chilly feeling, this weird connect? Well, we're already interconnected. This is the thing. Now, repeating things. It's like, the old expression, the honeymoon is over, is coming from somebody who wants you to be disconnected. That expression, if it's replicated in your mind and you're using it as a tool to define your very simulation, you will receive exactly that. So the old expression, reap what you sow, is exactly that very thing. Or moreover, what I like to remind people of, you can have your cake and eat it too. Seafood, that's not what they said. They said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's right. That would come from someone who is very limited. That would come from someone who wants you to contract, not realize the universe is you. There is no separation. And so we're going to have you level up and realize that you can access the beautiful chemical fun factory. And, just by me sort of respirating a little bit, breathing in and out through my dantian, and just a little smirk on my face gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling that starts to derive in destination from this very place. Now, Sifa, what are you doing? This sounds like some type of magic. Well, it's not. I'm transmitting very thought form, thought, feeling, and emotion that evokes the alchemical response within myself that then is replicated within you due to that very nature. So now you start to feel the respiration, and it for some strange reason, it starts to make you feel good. And the more you smile, the more you feel good. What are the chances of that? Now, the inner architecture of that is a transmutation, part of the Qigong training, where you're accessing the pineal, pituitary, and thalamus. That alchemical response is creating all the feel-good. So we're getting dopamine, we're getting nitric oxide, we're getting oxytocin, all the things that will express yourself, engulf incredible expansion of your arteries and blood flow to that core center. And so now, just me doing this, you start to feel, holy moly, Sifu, you're pointing at your chest, and I'm feeling it in my chest, and I'm on the other side of the world through the camera. What is going on here? This is the very nature of all things. And so now I'm starting to percolate a little more. I'm sort of tossing it around like pizza dough, cultivating and concentrating it with the very processes of, if you think it is realized, understand that that's the magnitude of it as you become more masterful at what you do. I'm not having to sit here and go, now I want you to imagine the sunlight shining down upon your body. No, I'm creating that within my field, and it's expressed through your feeling and being associated with this expansive moment that you're feeling what I'm thinking. What? And now you're accessing this chemical fun factory within you. This is the power of what we talk about. And it's like, it's a mastery. That's why Qigong is so powerful. And you know, you can call me biased. It's second to none, but it's understanding, accessing all dimensions at once and transmitting the energy, frequency, vibration equally.
Mm-hmm.
Not, oh, there's a little bit over here, but I can't focus my attention on this. So, you know, Auntie Barbara's going to have to like miss out on her healing because I got to focus on making sure I get my first coffee on the Starbucks drive-through because I'm passing out that manifestation. Yet Auntie Barbara's dying from like lack of oxygen on her deathbed in some emergency room on the other side of the world. No, I can have my cake and eat it. I can get my coffee at Starbucks and make sure I'm at the front of the line with the extra cinnamon spice. And I can also help Auntie Barbara make sure that she doesn't check out of this physical reality and still has a couple more clicks on her register, that she comes out of critical and stabilizes with your pure intention. But that comes from accessing that juice and making it palpable for it to be realized for you. And that's the mastery. And that mastery can be obtained instantaneously. Like I said, we want to go through the old expression, the 4-minute mile. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Blammo. And for all those people that experience that, welcome. And for all those people that want a taste of that, get a taste of that, and they want more, welcome to you also, my dear friends, and that we can all sing Kumbaya and all elevate our level to that consciousness regardless of where you are. It's time to level up.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no right or wrong. It's just now. It's this present moment. The present moment. That is your present. Your gift is your offering. And that's where you want to stay in that pattern, that informational pattern, that's cyclical, spiral that is representative of the nature of your representation as the universe. And you can shift it and change it. That means that's why you want to start with a good morning. You want to end with a good night. You want to stay in that state because you are the master keeper creator. Many people talk about you're not creating, you're just taking possibilities. Listen, for all those people that want to say you're not creating, because let's understand this. I can craft the architecture of any particular magical incantation, spell, whatever you want to call it, and have it myopic in its direction. So you can look at it from the perspective of someone goes, well, it's always been there. You're just focusing on it. I understand that from that perspective. Light, wave, particle, matter. Wherever your eyes go, wherever your attention goes, there goes a creative moment of realization because you're taking and slowing down the light to what is representative within this 3D reality and becomes tangible because of your intention. And then there is that creativity, knowing that all the possibilities are happening all at once. I can value that. Now show me.
Mm-hmm.
Show me. And so the nature of how you're feeling hasn't changed. Now, if you just consciously, with your eyes open, listening to my very voice, listening to Jade and I talk about the divination, just me smiling, puts you in a state where you are now feeling that percolation from the center of your middle dantian, which is representative of a fourth chakra, which is representative within Taoism of a fifth energy center, which is representative of the middle dantian within Taoism, and you're feeling this percolation. It almost feels like it could border on anxiety, but it's not. It's an elevation of your energy, and with that, when you smile, and all I ask you to do is smile, and you're like, whoa, hang on a second, I'm feeling kind of fuzzy inside, and it kind of makes me feel a little high.
Yeah.
Because that's that joy moment. You ever seen a kid just uncontrollable, like laughter and stupid? You know, my children do this quite often, like, I want to just stand here and giggle and just walk around in circles until I get so dizzy I want to fall over. That giggly, bubbly happiness that comes from that alchemical response. This is your access point to that. By you being exposed to what we're speaking of, I've already planted the seed. It's already rippling out into all possibilities right here, right now. That's why you're attaching to it. You're receiving the transmission. It's connected within your field, and that is why it's becoming tangible. And the more I breathe, oh my goodness, the denser that becomes within your physical body. You're like, holy moly. And so I would say to you in the audience, I would say to my beloved, beautiful, divine Jade here, all you need to do is take a moment, right? And either open a sense, close a sense, and I'm just going to have you breathe in and out. So a shorter breath through, it's just like 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Now, if you notice the nature of these things as you exhale, it becomes almost dense. It almost pulls you forward because it's so dense in its nature. Another one. Again, let's do 3 more. Last one. Now hold it. And release. Whoa. Now, you got bobblehead syndrome. You've got this incredible density. It's like a percolating, giggly feeling you're receiving from this core of who you are. That is that inner tuning, and we're accessing this alchemical response, the dopamine, the oxytocin. And so now, with your eyes open or closed, where you're at in your own level of consciousness, OGs that have been here before, this is an exercise, an example of that. All you do is smile and go, whoa, why am I so high? Why am I so giggly? Why am I feeling so good? Because we have just accessed the high level of consciousness, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, and it's represented in this 3D reality because you are now the master keeper creator of the alchemical response going on in your body. That charge, that inner, some people would represent it as the inner smile, is now present. You just accessed nitric oxide. You just accessed dopamine. You just accessed oxytocin. And this is how you're obtaining this giggly, bubbly, joyful experience. And the more you attach yourself to that smile, it ripples out into every facet of your consciousness, from the transmutation of this representation of your physical body all the way up to you as the universe, all things knowing. It is one big rainbow smile. You are the human. The human, you're hue. You are a spectrum of light all through every dimension. And that comes out to represent who you are right here, right now. Oh, yeah. Stay with that. And if you take your moment to put your attention to your respiration, you'll realize that you are so highly attached to it that it is starting to accumulate, because this is what we call The absorbing of the riches, or more commonly within Taoism on a much deeper level, we just call it the gathering, baby. We just gather this stuff. We accumulate it. We compress it. We condense it. And it's like we are gathering, condensing, compressing, and compacting this energy into your physical tissue, into the subatomic level of your physical representation, and it becomes overwhelming. So every smile that you attach yourself to is rippling down into your very essence at a subatomic level. I'm sorry, I'm too happy, I need to stop now. I'm sorry, I'm just too joyful, I need to stop now. Too much, the old expression, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Oh, no, it is not. Another psyop, another misdirection, a sidestep to make you limited. Listen to your expression, listen to your representation, listen to how you guys see the world in your unconscious process. That's how it is limiting you. Know this to be true. And so just stay with that respiration. Let that accumulate the chi within your physical body as it gathers more and more and more. And the more you crack that smile, the bubblier and gigglier you get. And then when you crack the smile and focus your attention on the respiration, you're getting high in your own supply, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies. With that, anyone who's in the distance, hearing my voice, or present in this very moment, I want you to stay where you are and express yourself to your highest level. And let that ripple out and be representative, whether you are conscious or in immersive state of coherence. Let it express itself. And there is no time, no place, no limit. Let that ripple out. And with that, I will thank my divine delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Qing. And I will see you on the next one, guys.